What is up, everyone? Bo here with Beauviarts. Doing a live stream here. Gonna draw, or attempt to draw a tracer from Overwatch, so hopefully this goes well. Been meaning to practice more characters, practice. So I'll wait a minute or two. Maybe we'll get somebody to join in and watch. Um, if not, then we'll start anyway. Doesn't really make a difference. So let's check it out. Actually, I'll show you kind of what I've done so far. So we have basically her eyes and goggles and things like that. And I've started on the hair. That's what this area is right here, the hair. And then we'll probably tackle the nose next. I think that makes the most sense. Hey viewer, how's it going? Let's see. There used to be a way to get that chat box on a separate screen. I don't remember how. It might be right here. I don't know. I don't want to mess with anything right now. But thanks for joining in. Appreciate that. I'll tell you what, we're going to start here. And if you want to Q&A or talk or hang out, then feel free to do so. Kind of a late night one. I actually scheduled this about half an hour ago. I was trying to be good and be responsible and schedule it, but it something happened and I had to cancel it real quick and reset everything. So here we go. First, we'll kind of look at the layers here. I accidentally started everything on the background, so there's quite a bit on the background there. Layer 3 looks like some eyes and stuff. Let's see the bottom of it. Okay, and then the shading is layer 2. What I did for like the outer edge of the goggles, I kind of did a little trick. Is I drew this first, and then this line down here. And the reason I have these layer copies is because I just copied that onto another layer and turned it into this and this. So we'll refine that here in a little bit. But like I said, I think we're going to start on the nose first. Okay, let's get to going, and I'll check the chat box here and there. Ooh, you know what? Right away, I see something that happened whenever I transformed her eye. I kind of tilted her eye earlier, so let's just take, let's go on layer 2 here, since that's the shading layer, and we're going to, forget how to even do this. Okay, so let's take this, we got a decent opacity, and let's just paint over that, and where you see the value change, you want to make sure that you change your brush as well. All right. I've actually, in regards to Overwatch, never played it or anything. So, but the characters, they're cool. I think it's Blizzard, right? I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun to jump on the Overwatch um, train. So, also, what that did is it took out her eyelid. So let's redraw that in real quick. It's kind of high, actually, high opacity. Alright, so it actually goes up a little bit, like so. Seems like I'm having to press down quite hard. Hang on. Let's just crank it up. And then we'll take care of like the areas where it's really not making a lot of sense towards the bottom of the eyelid here in a minute. Because that looks a little bit messy. We should get a tad bit darker. And zoom out and see how it's, yeah, looks like she's got a few years on her. She's a heavy drinker, so let's Let's amend that. I'll tell you what, let's take the old eraser to it. And we're going to crank the opacity down. That way we can just kind of baby this. Then after this, I will check the chat box. See how we're doing. And, you know, I know this kind of looks a little bit... You know what? Oh, man. This is funny. I'm not even on the right layer for this. There we go. I mean, for drawing, it really doesn't matter, but as far as this goes, I wasn't on the right layer. Interesting. That just looks pretty terrible right there on this layer too. It's not too bad. We'll come back and clean it up a little bit later. All right. Nothing going on there right now. So what we want to do is, before I kind of start with the nose and stuff, I want to work on the goggles a little bit more. So, oh, by the way, let's see what we can merge here real quick. You know what? I think I can merge these two, flatten these down a little bit. Merge down. I don't really use hotkeys. I don't know what's wrong with me. So now we have all that on a layer, and I could really go further and merge it into the background if I want, but look, she's missing an eye. Anyhow, I want to really get the value added here on these goggles. That way it looks like it's kind of away from her face. So just a couple of things I want to do in regards to that. And let me see. I'm looking at my reference, by the way. So this is pretty good. You know, it needs to come up a little bit as well. So let's go in here a little bit. Now, in my last video, somebody asked about me zooming in, why I really don't zoom in too often. And it just depends on the circumstance. Like today, you know, this is obviously a piece that's going to have pretty big details. So you want to make sure you get those details. So sometimes that takes zooming in to do so. If it's just a quick sketch, then I'm really not going to be zooming in if I can get away with it. So that's what that's about. So let's give a little bit more definition up here so you can tell what's happening. And just with that, you can already tell that this is, you know, metal or something like that. And we're going to come down here and we're going to start shading this in pretty good too. And this tightens up as it crosses the bridge of her nose here. So the idea is we're looking for sharp lines. This is blurry. It reads pretty good from far away, but it's even better when you shade it in like so. Well, let's thicken the brush up too. And this can be erased in a little bit. I just want to get the overall lines down. There we go. And then we can kind of work on, you know, making things thinner or thicker. Like right around here, that is not, it's not how it goes. It's going to be something a little bit more like, whoops, like that. There we go. Sweet. So is this on this layer? I think so. It is. Okay, so let's take away some of this garbage. Just clean it up a little bit. A little bit too much there. Alright, yeah. Just being careful. Just take your time. I'd like to have this done in a couple of sittings. I'm Probably not gonna finish this tonight, just to let you know. But while I work on these things, I figured it's kind of fun to let you guys see what's going on here. So again, thank you for tuning in. And this is actually good to erase right here because it's going to give it a little bit of direction. That's crossing the bridge of her nose. So let's just kind of erase that right there. And oh yeah, feeling pretty good about that. This is a little shaky. We'll fix those shaky lines later. Still nothing? Alright. Well, that's okay. Let's continue here. And we're going to go up here and kind of do the same thing. So, right up there. It's going to be a little bit dark. Not too dark. It's not going to be black. It's all about taking your time. You know, if you're doing art and stuff like that, like it can be sometimes it can be frustrating. I kind of had an instance today where I think we all have this where you kind of second guess yourself. You know, you're like, crap. You know, like I what I did is I made a portfolio on a pretty popular site called ArtStation, and right away I just you know people are just beaming with talent on that site. So sorry, I'm gonna adjust my mic. So you know you're like, damn. You know, you're just like, crap, these people are good. Let's take the eraser here. We're going to turn it on 100%, and we're just going to play around with some glare. Like I did some glare from the goggles right there. That looks pretty good. And then we're just going to do like a smidgen of it right here to kind of get some more reflective surfaces. That should be fine. And there's also some over here. I don't really know how I'm going to tackle this. I think I'm just going to go... No. Whoops. Um, For now, I think what it is this value needs to be a little bit darker over here. Actually, I know that's what it is. So, and then this does too. Well, I guess if I know what needs to happen, then I might as well just do it. No reason not to. So, whoops, not that close. Actually, that's probably good right there. So let's make this bigger, and let's darken this up actually, because this eye looks like it's like flat with, you know, the nose is supposed to be, well, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just, the value is going to add that dimension in another plane there, so, and then we can fix the hair later. So this shouldn't have really any white back there. In fact, since the hair lays over there, it'll be a little darker over there, not black, and you don't want it darker than the eyebrow. And then let's come right under here. And fix up this. Actually, that looks a little bad. Very nice. All right. More goggle action. Actually, what layer is the goggle on? I thought it was on this layer, so we'll go on this layer. We'll keep everything. Like I said, I'm trying to keep one layer for shading. With a piece this fragile, I'm definitely going to be using a couple of different layers sometimes just to get the work as optimal as possible. Whoops. All right, yeah. And then what else needs to happen is this line right here, and I'd already started bringing that in, but this needs to kind of come up and get pretty small right there. And actually, what we can do is erase this hair right here. And we can bring the goggles up just a little bit more. And the reference, they meet basically around her eyes. And I see why it's kind of giving the illusion of, you know, the glass is kind of bubbling out. So by making this thinner and then that, I don't remember if it's concave or concurve. I forget which one's which. We're going to sell that illusion. So, yeah, already that's a pretty good deal we have going on there. And let me check in with my viewer. Still doing good out there. Thanks for tuning in. And the nose, actually, okay, so now that I'm zooming out, it's good to zoom in and zoom out on pieces like this, because now I can see some flaws here. This needs to be a little bit darker. And it's going to go in a little bit more. She has kind of like a, you know, a cute like anime nose or whatever. So get that ready. Okay, and right around here, let's crank this guy up to like 50 or something. I don't know. And then we're going to start kind of giving just the slightest like shadow from the hair strands. Actually, you know what? I can come over here with this hair strand now. Well, crap. I don't want to erase it all from here. Damn. Should have really thought this one through. Interesting. This might be a problem I just did that for nothing. Might be a problem I have to resolve later. Well, I guess that could work. I mean, it's not a huge deal. Just her hair would be a little bit different. Okay. So these practices, I do these. I'm gonna start doing the live streams a lot more often. This is my third live stream, and that's a little bit too dark. Actually, you know what? It might be okay in the middle there. But my plans are to incorporate live streams when I'm doing studies like this a little more often. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe if you're already subscribed. Then check your the little bell notification icon, and that will notify you when I'm doing an event. So yeah, this eye looks a little bit big. Maybe, I don't know. Let me zoom out. It's slightly bigger. Let's see here. So we can come in like right here, like right behind this line. Okay, and then we will take the eraser and let's see, is her eye on that line? Okay, so we're going to take the eraser and we're going to come over here and just kind of, I mean, it was only off by a few pixels, but enough to where I could tell, like, you know, something was off. That's a little bit better. Actually, a lot better. And then that eyeball could use a little bit more contrast in the values. So let's come up here and I'll show you which brushes I'm using here in a minute, just in case you're following along or you want to. Okay, so her eye's going to cast a shadow, fairly dark shadow, right? And then you're even going to have like the slightest little bit of shadow down here. And especially around the pupil here, we have some stuff going on. It's going to sell that illusion a little bit better. I love saying that. I don't know why. Just turn the opacity up. Whoops. I'll tell you what, while I'm thinking about it, there's a bug on my screen, like a little light bug. And he's back. See if I can get him. I wish I could see that. All right, there we go. Save it, for God's sake. And come over here and add a little bit more. You want to be careful about how you do this because you still want it to be like a or a spherical shape. Um, you don't want to do anything to compromise that. So sweet. All right. Still good out there. No partying happening. It's okay though. I kind of surprised everyone about this. Not really. Well, it's somewhat scheduled. There's going to be a little bit of dead air here. These lines get pretty intricate, and it's hard to, you know, draw and concentrate at the same time, and talk. So let's take an eraser and start cleaning this up a little bit. And it's like right there and stuff. And like down here, let's make this to where it's not a sketch, and I want it to be pretty good lines by the end of everything. Um, Zoom out. Yeah. And I'm just looking at my reference here. So, next is coming down here and taking care of more of these darker lines on the goggles. Let's broaden this brush up here a little bit, increase the width. Oh yeah, I was going to show you my brushes that I'm using. We'll come over here. So the first one is from Mark Brunette. He gives a video cube brush, by the way, on YouTube. Gives a video on how to make a custom brush that he uses for everything. So that is what we have here. Do that, and for shading, I'm using this guy. It's like almost like a sponge. If you ever did sponge paintings, so it kind of looks ugly, but well, I'll just use the same deal here. If you come down here with like a lighter opacity with shading, you're going to get some pretty interesting textures. It's just really nice. So that is it. That is all I'm using. So I'll just for future viewers that log on, so they'll know how many brushes I'm using. It looks like I'm using 3, but I'm only using 2. So there you have that. Come back down here, and yeah, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to reiterate because my other videos can get pretty lengthy. But as far as like opacity goes, I like to keep it like 30 to 40%, 50% sometimes when I know I'm gonna nail, I've got the line down and I'm pretty confident about it, and I just want to, um, you know, basically go back over it and make it more concrete. But I keep a lower opacity because situations like this, if you have, and again I've talked about this, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but if you have 100% opacity, you can't, um, you can't really go too much more dark than that. if you crank it down to like 37 or something, somewhere around there, then you have all these interesting things happening right here. I mean, that already looks like kind of like hair or something, but you'll have all these textures that marry together, and it's just it's really cool. So sweet. Still got our watcher. That's always good. Feel free, viewer, if you have any questions about anything. It doesn't have to be art related. If you do have an art related question, then I'll be more than happy to tackle it, or um, whatever. So yeah, this is pretty good right here. I think we're gonna tackle that last bit with the eraser. Kind of clean it up. And you gotta remember, it's not gonna be black all the way right there, because this part really isn't touching her face. It's more like, above from her face. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but she's kind of at a 3/4, obviously a 3/4 profile kind of situation going on with her pose, her position, and everything like that. So, yeah. I also need to clean this up over here, whatever's going on right here. So we have her goggles have like these LED lights, like a Bluetooth or something. So we're gonna get that, but this is like a kind of a shadow from her metal piece. So let's kind of clean that up real quick. Even like that's pretty nice. And there's also just a hint of white. So let's get this going pretty good here. And it's right around here. I'm going to zoom in because this is pretty intricate. It's right around here. And this is also, oh crap, because I have to actually use white. So we hit X and switch our color palette. That's a hotkey I do remember. This is going to serve as just another reflective surface. It's going to kind of define the shape of the goggles, and it's just a little touch here, but what is going on here? I feel like this could be a lot. Oh, it's because we have shading that's covering it up. Okay. Yeah. There we go. And it's actually going to extend past that little corner over here. And I'll tell you what, while we're on this, let's lower the opacity, and we're going to hit this with some highlights just to get the goggle starting. I think I was talking about something earlier and I abandoned the topic. I was talking about taking your time, because stuff like this, excuse me, I'm still getting over being sick. You're going to join, like I was talking about joining like sites and stuff, and you see all these talented artists. That's going to happen, and that's awesome, good for them. But it can, at the same time, it can sometimes be discouraging, because you're like, man, you become impatient, and you want to immediately, have instant capabilities of performing art like that. So there's like a lot of speed paintings and stuff people get into, and I've done a lot. I've done a lot of speed paintings. I love doing speed paintings because I do get impatient, and you kind of get instant results with a speed painting. But we're actually gonna clean this up too up here. Not happy with how that was gonna, how the shapes on that were going. Anyway, a little bit more about that. You just have to take your time. I mean, something like this isn't just going to, I mean, at least for me, happen overnight. It's just going to take, hours, or how much ever time you want to put into it. So, there you have it. So, that being said, let's continue. I'm not really wanting to merge these layers. I'm liking the idea of keeping that. That does look good right there, though. Keeping this separate, and also what this will do is, if I keep the shading separate, later on I can remove that layer, and if I decide I want to attempt to color her, I can do that too. So you're just giving yourself more options for your project if you keep at least a couple layers going. If I was just doing a rough sketch or something, it might be a little bit of a different story, but it's not the case here. So let's hit X to swap our colors back, lower the opacity to a comfortable level, and just always look at your reference, because you always find little stupid things. Stupid things. There we go. That's probably a tad too much on the shading side there, but that looks pretty good to me. I think we're going to keep it like that for now. Okay, so we have that. We have that. All kinds of mess going on in the background. And you know what? While we're here, let's hit, which layer was this on? Okay, it's on layer. It's on the background. For God's sake. Okay. Let's give a little bit more eyeliner down here, because it's really gonna break this apart from the white. And you want to be really careful. This is, time to buckle down here. Actually, you know what? I'm doing okay with my line work at the moment, so let's just crank that up just a little bit. And as far as like a woman's eye and makeup and stuff, like, you're not gonna have this thick eyelash situation going on all the way over here. What this is it's, think of this as a sphere, and that, well, the eyelashes don't wrap around the sphere, but kind of the shape of it. So the way we're looking at it, these things get thinner, and that's kind of what's happening here. Is the little lashes got thinner and thinner and thinner until we're looking at them dead on, and now we're kind of coming apart and looking at them at a different angle over here, and yeah. So also, just different perspective, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Let's do that, and let's take our thingy and our other thingy and reshade this thingy. Alright, you follow? There we go. Now, taking a look at it, feeling pretty good. I do see some opportunity. Here's the opportunity. It's going to be in the opposite eye, her left eye. Our right, her left. And we're going to kind of thicken this a little bit, maybe bring it down just a hair. Because you got to think, same situation. Crap. There we go. Same situation. Smaller brush. And we're just going to darken it right there. Okay. Looks like stuff like that doesn't make a difference, but it does. Promise you. Okay. Let's go ahead and just throw our nose on this layer. I really don't care at this point. Go back out here. Still no action. It's okay. I'm actually surprised anybody's really tuning in at all. And so right away on this reference, and just by the way that the reflections are hitting, right here, and this is going to be a reflection. I need to darken the values over here. So, but that tells us ultimately that light is coming from, let's see if I can write this down. I'll make little notes, or gigantic notes. There we go. So Yeah, I don't really need to explain that. Light is going bam that way, which means she'll have kind of like a rim light, which is a pretty good way to define your character. So, that being said, the reason I bring it up is because the way we're going to tackle this nose, or try to, is I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. We're going to get this brush pretty good. We're gonna get it pretty big around there, and we're gonna start just giving some shading here. This is a little bit scary. Again, I don't really work on characters, and this is more of, honestly, it's more of a portrait. So, you know, a little bit quiet here, and then we'll fix this here to where it doesn't look so awkward. Come over here, and we're going to continue that lighting there. And you can just tell that the way that we're tackling this is kind of using this brush to kind of create the shadows for us, and then we'll kind of draw around it, um, at least for now, until I figure out if there's an error or not. So let's take some white, let's that, and then we'll crank up the opacity to like around there. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's zoom in just a little bit here. Actually, you know what? It's pretty good right there. Smaller brush, and we're going to trying to see where this hits. It's going to hit like right here maybe. And once my confidence level in the shape of this nose and everything is good, then we can kind of move on. We can maybe make it, wider, or something like that. So let's zoom out. It's kind of hard to tell. It kind of looks like she's got a pig nose or something right now, but that's really not finished. So let's take this, and you want to, this will be kind of hard, so it kind of goes up. Let's make some darker shadows here. Now we have to determine kind of where the nostril goes. So in relation to the corner of the crap, the eyelid here, which actually needs to come down just a tad bit. In relation to that, it's like diagonal. Actually, that's probably not a bad place. And then the tip of her nose. Okay. See, I'm learning. Ooh. That was nasty. That looked not good. So like around here, if my calculations are correct. All right, let's see here. So then we just kind of start shaping that out. And yeah, it's gonna have some stuff going on like down here, and then it's not terrible. There is, let's see here. There's a couple of issues with it for sure. So the first one is, it's a good starting point though. It's going to come in a little bit more right here. And seems like it's also a little bit shorter. Let me see if I can do something here. Let me see if I can get brave. Can I do this? And then like, oh, for God's sake. I guess that's not happening. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, well, let's kind of fill this in right here. We're we're pretty close for a first time nose attempt on Tracer here. And it kind of ski slopes up a little bit more. That's what I've always called these types of noses, like a ski slope nose. It's a little too pointy, so let's go in and fix that. Like right here, see, it's supposed to be a little bit smoother in the transition. I mean, this is pretty minute details, but if you think about it, um, something like that's going to have a pretty big influence on, if think about if your nose were like a millimeter off, then you would look completely different than you're supposed to. So, and let's just go on layer 2 here, and what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of shading with the, not with that, with all of this, our little sponge thingy. I hate how it does that every time. Okay. And we're even going to go lighter than, we're going to go like 14% here, and we're going to go like this. Okay. And then we're going to go, let's see. Oh, God, that looks like crap right now, but that's okay. So the light's hitting her over here. We need to kind of define that rim light, I guess. Just color the whole thing in right now is what I ought to do. And then like this is darker, right? Not that dark maybe. Did I just mess up her whole nose? Let me see. Nah. Doing alright. Alright, cool. That was weird. I don't know what this other... There's two files, and I don't remember why it's like that. Okay, anyway. Back to this. You know what I'm going to do is I'm not going to shade with this brush right now. I'm really not feeling that. I'm going to shade with this one. So it kind of does this like, it kind of rides along the edge of her nose here where you see this rim light starting is the goal here. So that's definitely starting to happen. And then Tracer's nostril to her nose. It's going to be right there, nice and round. And we can, erase or whatever a little bit. That's a little too heavy. So, flip the palette. Start taking away some of the darkness here. You can do this with an eraser or just regular brush. Doesn't really matter. And you're kind of making a line, like right here. Like this is going to be like almost like a triangle. Actually, it's exactly what it is, an acute triangle. If you see right here, it's like a little 45-degree angle right there in the dark spot. So that's what's going on there. And then it's going down here. The shadow for her nostril wouldn't be down here. It makes sense to be off to the side over here. So watch yourself on that. We're also going to just kind of take in that shadow a little bit more. Actually, it's a little bit too much. Needs to come over here a little bit. Hopefully this is educational or just entertaining in the least bit. And of course what that means is the goggles just have a hint of shadow on the nose there. And also like right up here. Actually, it's too big of a brush, so let's just take it down a little bit. Let's take the opacity up since we're shading in. So that's also going to serve as the shape of her bridge too, that shadow. Yeah. Zoom out. Very nice. I'm pretty pleased. I think the nostril needs to be a little bit bigger. We'll fix that here in a second. Oh, I'm doing this all in my shading layer. Lovely. So that happens when you don't pay attention, folks. Okay. That's okay, though. Not a big deal. Just ruins all my plans, but whatever. No, I'm just kidding. So, smooth lines, if you haven't noticed, all these lines aren't, there's really not a lot of pointiness going on here. There's a lot of smoothness and crap like that. And let's get this rim light going pretty confidently here. See what I mean? That actually just changed the whole shape of her nose. All right. Again, we're on a Photoshop CS6, if you haven't figured that out. And I'm using a Wacom Bamboo. Whatever, we'll just go with 100%. Since it's pressure sensitive anyway, I really need this. I'm doing it again. That's why it wasn't coming out as white as I would have liked it. Dadgummit. I'm actually just getting used to Photoshop anyway. I've been drawing on an iPad for like a year and a half. All my commissions and clients and customers and stuff, like, it's all been iPad work. Because my computer was not a very good one. So we're adding these little highlights on her nose there. Just a little too harsh. Try to remember that white is the hottest color, and it should be reserved for very intense reflections, like so, or the ones in her eyes. Those aren't quite all the way white, but eyes are pretty reflective. They're always wet with tears and whatever. So yes, let's turn down the opacity for, I'm going to take this nostril line down a little bit. Okay, it's going to be right there, right? Nope. Let's find the layer game. Oh, crap. What? What am I doing wrong here? What in the world? Oh, really? So, because I had my... I forgot to swap my palette back again, so the eraser was having an inverted property there. Well, no wonder it wasn't really doing anything. There we go, that's the problem. Not on the right layer. Alright. Very good. Okay. And she's got some, let's save. She's got some hair, well, everywhere. So let's just say for right now, we'll just add some more hair down there. And you can see that already looks like texture and light's reaching it because of the opacity. It's a pretty good example of where lower opacity will leave you some options to mess around. Zoom out and make sure we're having pretty good proportions and things like that, and shapes with the hair. It's looking pretty good. Actually, I was pretty happy with that shape right there, so we'll keep that. And what that'll help me do is this hair comes down to about, well, it's right there, obviously, a little strand, but her cheek and everything is like, you can't really tell where her cheek is going up here because there's going to be some reflections and stuff in her glasses, but her cheek down here kind of starts in this shape. So, yeah, good stuff. And we can try to kind of like give her, she's got these like kind of emo bangs stuff going on here, and then her hair's kind of laying over her goggles a little bit. Start framing in a couple of these items over here. How we doing, folks? All right, nobody. Can't really say I blame you. There's, uh, it's late. All right. Let's see here. And then there's also these Bluetooth things. I can probably hit those later. Some more hair stuff going on here. And it's getting pretty dark when it comes down around here. You know, because the light's right there. So, you know, her bottom half and this her right side, our left for her, will be a little bit darker, and this will also be the start of her earlobe, like right around here, just to give you an idea of how this is going. It's already a little bit too much. And this reflection actually looks pretty cool. What I'm going to do though is we're going to hop up here. And we're going to hit this with some pretty good lighting over here. It's a powerful light situation going on, pretty strong. It's going to come down here. And then the next one actually, this is kind of weird. Okay, so does that, and then, oops, drop down right here. Let's get some low opacity going on. We actually need even lower opacity than that. So we're going to go down here, and it's going to be like that, and then like, no, no, don't think so. All right. Let's make that smaller. Whoops. There we go. Not too bad. Straighten my stylus here. I'm gonna do this, and hello viewer. How's it going? Sorry you have to hear me gulp. I've been drawing for an hour without some water, so gotta stay hydrated. If you're just tuning in, or maybe you're the same viewer as before, we're drawing Tracer from Overwatch, so hopefully it's good times for you. And let's see, and then this also down here, just a hair. Ooh, no, no, no. All right. I saw what that was doing. It was not having quite the same effect that I wanted. I just want to take this little highlight in just a little bit. Who knows? Hopefully everything's going all right out there. Um, yeah, we've been working quite a bit on this piece. Um, Tracer from Overwatch. Never played the game. I'm really enjoying drawing this. It's quite the experience. So, see, this video will be, ready to go as far as processed and everything sometime this evening. So, for those that are just joining in, you'll be able to see like what this is. It's the types of brushes and where the light's going and things like that. You'll be able to see all that cool stuff. Um, let's see what's going on up here. There's a couple of things we can do. I'm getting my layers confused, which is not a good thing, but it's part of it. Let's see here. Let's turn our opacity up. And this thing's going up a little bit too far, actually. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have a situation where this little guy is gonna, it's got this highlight that enforces the shape of this thing. It's just like ever so slightly. It's got to be pretty steady. And then this is, I don't know why this is giving me so much trouble up here. There you go. And then there's like this harsh, corner right there. So you can tell when I sketched it out, I ended up way over there. But in reality, that's not how it is. So we'll need to take our, is it this one? Something like that. Erase this. Again, switch the color thing first. And crank this up. Is this not the right layer? See. Oh, I thought I selected background for some reason. Okay. There we go. Let's clean that up a little bit. And we'll have like hair and stuff here, so this isn't really a big problem. That's expected. We're like lining up puzzle pieces here. And let's fix this shape. Okay. And the way we will do that is by selecting a little bit of that. Sorry if you're talking to me. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just watching. And I'm kind of not meaning to ignore that box. I just want to... I jump around so much, so I want to make sure that I address these issues before I forget them. Okay. Yeah, kick butt. So we can do some more of the hair. I'm trying to think here where I want to go next. I think that as far as the face goes, like the cheeks and the chin and stuff like that, it would be a little bit easier once I draw her mouth. Or she kind of has this like elaborate collar on her coat, so we could go there too. Well, let's kind of play around with with this area a little bit more. So far, I'm happy with it. So this was, we need to go to the black color. So yeah, there's some like hair stuff going on. This is actually pretty dark right here. Maybe not that dark. Well, it might be. And then let's go ahead and, you know, make sure this shape is good to go. There we go. Then we want to bring that all the way down there. Very nice. And then we also have, this is pretty dark too, remember, because the light's over here, so it's casting a shadow, and there will be some shadows, you know, down here once we get to that point in time. Let's just kind of round off this situation on this Bluetooth goggles. I don't know, whatever she's wearing. If anybody know, because I probably won't play Overwatch until it like drops in price. I'm pretty cheap, and I just don't play a lot of online games anymore. But tell me a little bit about the character. I'm probably a little bit too lazy to read up on her. But do these goggles serve a purpose, or are they just aesthetic? That was a little crooked there, so let's fix that. Perfect. Well, not perfect, but you know what I mean. So these kind of give off like there's two square shaped LEDs, and they're going to give off like a little glow. So what I'll probably do is I'll hit the glow with like, you know, light gray or white or something like that. And we'll kind of leave it right there. There we go. And then same thing. Taking my time with these squares, as you can see, pixel by pixel. That's how you do it. All right, and then in reality, actually, this bar right here actually is a little bit more slim, but I've invested so much time in it, and it isn't really going to make a difference. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Okay. Not bad. And let's keep going. Let's see, where do we do our hair? I think we did our hair on this layer. We sure did. So let's continue that. Excellent. And then her small earlobe here. It's going to go kind of like that. And it's like in the shape of like a circus peanut. Which, by the way, if you're not familiar with the circus peanut, like the candies, for whatever reason, I am terrified of those things. The texture and the color. Oh god, I have to stop talking about it. I'm serious, it actually makes me sick to think about. I can't finish this ear because of the circus peanut. And then she has like some like weird little cone-shaped things. I don't know. Maybe I should read about Tracer later on. Learn some cool stuff. And yeah, it's not a bad little start, just to kind of give us an idea of where. So her jawline will be like around there. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can kind of get some lips on her. We'll go a little bit down on the opacity with lips. So this is going to extend. It's going to kind of come to a point down here. Just lightly. And not too far from that, you know, because your mouth is close to your nose. It's going to be her lips. I mean, the best advice I can give to you, I used to do portraits growing up quite a bit. Um, and since starting digital art, I've been so scared to um, do any kind of characters. Growing up, like I said, did portraits all the time, but we're talking quite some time ago. But the best way I can tell you, and I've had to remind myself, as I get older and as I've started tackling characters and portraits again and stuff like that, and just the studies is take your time and don't rush yourself, um, and try to make it as accurate as possible. There's no need to go crazy and try to draw. I'm trying to draw her lips and uh, and do all this kind of crap. Just take your time and that looks like a clothes hanger. Just take your time and I guess that's my advice. And that being said, they actually come up a little bit higher right here, which is why you take your time. And remember, anatomically, the corners of your mouth are going to be around your pupil. So she's got a smaller mouth, so it doesn't really make it there. But might be a nice, tip for you if you're making a character or whatever, or just sketching. And I was watching Ahmad Aldori. He's one of my favorites. And he was talking about sketching like this. Of course, we've got a reference and a character, but as far as making up something, my back just cracked. As far as making up something, it's sometimes the advantage of not drawing something from, that, and then the eye, and then the coming down here and doing the chin and the mouth and whatever. Well, that's a goofy looking person, but the advantage of just starting out and drawing like eyebrow, eye, is your creativity is going to be unleashed a little bit better because you can change features with just a fraction of a millimeter and you're going to have a whole new character design. So save it just in case we have a computer crash or anything terrible, heaven forbid, and continue real quick. Just bring that in a little bit. Hopefully you're enjoying this. I know I am. And then we're going to come back and do something like this. This dips down a little bit lower up here, and then let me see something here. There's a little bit of an error. It's just going to be right here, like that goes up right there. That's also, I'll do this and like look at what if anybody said anything or anybody else has joined in. But it also, a lot of times, I'm gonna give my hand a break real quick and grab a drink and kind of talk. Uh, a lot of times, like I don't know if you've ever had this problem, but I'll draw something and I'll be like, "Oh, badass, looks really cool." And the next day I'll wake up and I'll open up the project or look at it, on paper or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh God, that's horrible." So sometimes minimizing, like all my fingers just popped. Sometimes minimizing and then opening, something back up, I can kind of uh, have a fresh look on it, and see if it sucks or not. So there's a couple things I need to fix here. Actually, looking at this, her like mouth is kind of crooked, so we're just gonna fix that real quick. This is gonna come up like this, but it shouldn't drop down so dramatically. So we're going to fix that, and really that's about it. Which is fine, we're just getting the basic shape first and then we can refine it later. And I can even, this is way too dark right there, I'm sure, but concentration right here. All right, these light bugs that fly into my monitor and then my face and stuff. So really? You serious right now? I'm not. No. No. All right. And then we'll have. I guess we can shade this in real quick. Here, we can shade it in. Nah, we'll just stick to layer 3. I don't want to get too silly with it. And clean it up a little bit. It's pretty good. Not too bad. There's still some stuff we need to do over on this side. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do on these features here. Zoom in just one time here. Tighten our brush up here, and we're going to add just a hint of darkness right there. And you don't want to get like jet black here, it's we're not talking about a black hole here. It's just her mouth, closed. So, a little bit of light's going to be accessing right here. It's not going to be like, well, that's hair, so that's a little bit different, but it's not going to be like we're looking into, like I said, a black hole or anything. So, little smile, and now we have some shading under the smile lines here. And let's get this just all one value just for peace of mind for a little bit, and we can come back and change that value later. So right around here, around the peak here, where it does this, is where her bottom lip's going to start. Her mouth is open in this, and it's all lined up with, bam, bam, bam right there. So let's widen this brush. Let's see if I can get this, like, it's kind of like a lifesaver kind of shape here. See if I can get this going. Let's zoom out a little bit too, because I want the full effect. I want to make sure that we get this curve right. Yeah, it's not too bad. Too bad at all. There we go. And it's going to, like, let's see, how's this go? Slowly, one pixel at a time, one pixel at a time. And then it, like, goes, let's see, where's this actually ending? It's ending somewhere up here. But it's not really square. There we go. And usually on a character, like, they're gonna have like lip gloss or something, so you'll have like a reflective, your lips are pretty reflective, so that's kind of this situation we have going on here with her. Yeah. Keep sketching, and it's not totally white right there. It's pretty good. There's room for improvement there. And then we have like this. It's a little bit too dark actually. I'll shade the that area in a little bit. Come down here. And sorry, I know I'm really quiet right now. This is a little too harsh. And it's not going to be perfect right now, but close enough. I think right here, we're going to, there we go. There we go. And then there's a little bit of shading right there. And then there's just shading everywhere. We've got a lot of work. How are we doing, by the way? Thanks for still sticking with me. I'm gonna go in. We're going in. All right. Ugh. Look how messy. Look how messy. All right. Hopefully this is enjoyable. There we go. We'll go with 3. Now that we're pretty confident about shapes here, we can hit everything a little bit darker. Maybe, if I can draw a straight line here. Alright. Maybe I'll start doing like some music and stuff, but the only reason I don't is because I fear that I'll like, I don't know, kind of get like interested in the music and not really narrate. And to me, narrating is more important. Like that's one of the things on my channel that I really want to hit is, you know, teaching everyone if I can. You know, shape-wise, I still see some. Actually, I'll just fix it right now while I see it. Now that it's coming together, I can see that this lip is like, excuse me, kind of more, yeah, there we go. Kind of down and then straight. And then that's not too bad right there. A little bit of texture right there. This bottom one is going to come out a little bit like fatter. I don't know. Like a fatter lip. Actually about like that. Yeah. And teeth. Okay, so teeth shouldn't be that hard. And then like afterwards it'll just be another section, you know. It'll have gone from just shapes to, you know, something that we were able to refine a little bit later. So teeth, we're going to come in like this. And then let's just get a little bit higher opacity in here. Let's go to like 47. Okay. Just going to go in like that. And then just the slightest little angle for a canine. And then like a straight, kind of curved up. There you go. Like that. And we'll clean that up a little bit. And then shade it in. And it's a little off, but it's a starting point. And again, that's what you want, is a starting point. It's not too bad. I think it could be a little bit better, but what we'll do is we'll zoom in here. And we will take that bottom line right there. I want it a little bit more curved. That's like pretty terrible. Pretty terrible. Alright, let's try this again. So we got the canine right there. That's part of it, though. You're going to screw up something sometimes, you know? Just try it again. Okay, and then come under here and just give a little bit more shadow, suggesting that her mouth is just a little bit apart. And then we can even come up on our shading layer here and kind of shade in the teeth a little bit. So we have some dark shadows going on right here, right? And then we have a little one in the corner. You don't want it like darker than her you know, we don't want it to blend in, I guess is what I'm trying to say, with like her lips or anything like that, which are going to change, by the way. And then we have a shadow being cast by her lips. So just kind of keep all that in mind. Let's darken this up a little bit. Yeah, totally. Very good. While we're close up, we can see some of the imperfections here. Of course, a lot of it's because we have inconsistent shading in this lip, but I see that this one kind of goes up a little too far. I think, maybe. Let me see. It's not too bad. It kind of goes a little bit skinnier right there because of the angle. So, okay. Very good. Let's save. Save your projects, folks. Nothing new. Oh, my back's killing me. There's a little bit more roundness to her bottom lip. I think a lot of people, and I've been known to do the same, but a lot of people, you know, that you have like certain people. They're like, well, mouths are too hard for me to draw, or you know, eyes or hands, and so they'll kind of avoid them. Like I've avoided characters entirely, you know, but stupid bug, light bug again. Um, they'll kind of get to that point on a character, and then it's just, you know, it's like the practice is never there. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. You know, don't give up on something, or you know, I could have left. I guess what reminded me of that is I could have left the lip like that. You know, I could have just been like, oh, whatever, whatever. It's good enough, you know. But that's definitely not the truth. Like you wanted to get it. You want to get this thing like it's gonna be your own because you're drawing it. You know, people do portraits every day, but you know, what's the point in doing all these details and stuff? And I mean, listen, we could still shade, you know, shade in and kind of smooth everything out if we wanted to. But what's the point in doing all that if you're just gonna like get to a hand or an eyeball and be like, this isn't my strong point. I'm just going to half-ass it, you know. So, you know, if that's your weakness, then study eyes or study whatever. And then right here, there we go. Now we're talking. Now we're really getting that that desired shape down. And since we changed all this, this means that we have to come under here and give a new shadow. So now let's zoom out. Tons better. Nice tracer so far. And what I'm going to start doing now is coming on this this second layer, which is basically my shading. It's pretty nice. And start adding some like shading around where the contours of her face will go. So this is brush number 2, which is this one. That's 100% opacity, and that's, you know, around the opacity we have it. And, you know, we can kind of get a little messy here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know, a lot of this is going to get shaded in over here anyway, so we can erase what we don't need. So, and you can kind of, almost what I'm doing is kind of I'm not tracing out her face, but well, I kind of am. So that's a little weird looking right there. Let's just kind of take that back. And okay, so that'll give us kind of a guideline there on, um, you know, her jaw and chin and stuff like that. Yeah, feeling okay about that. Pretty good. Then we can even um, shade in some of this hair over here if you want. I mean, that's up to you. Probably gonna wait on that. I don't want to get too carried away in the hair and stuff. Um, what I'm gonna do, this stream's been going on for a little bit. I'm going to cut it out right here. We're at an hour and a half, and get some sleep. And we'll probably hit the stream maybe tomorrow night. I'll try to set up an event ahead of time. So let's save it real quick. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, then place them in the box below. If you haven't subscribed already, then please do so. It helps me out a ton. And I do this stuff weekly. I've been active a lot more on YouTube lately. So I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for watching, and peace out.